Hey guys, it's Nicole with Boutique Helper, and you are now listening to the first episode of Life of a Boss. And today we're going to be talking to the founders of Sisters Doing Social. So right now we have Bree on the phone, and Kristen will pop in now. So if you can, Bree, can you tell me a little bit about how you guys started?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was an influencer, and when I stopped doing that, I wanted to go, more into the content creation for others, and that slowly progressed into us, um, doing creating social and online presences for people in general. So we started with websites and email campaigns, and my sister, who was a stay-at-home mom as well, she wanted to come on board and use her, organizational and HR, those type of skills to create an actual business. And we launched in August, and we, quickly became just an overall social and online marketing company. And that's pretty much it. It was a pretty quick and actually rather easy thing to begin because neither of our backgrounds are in that. I was psychology and she was nursing. So we are self-learned, self-taught. I'm sorry, yes, ma'am. You cut out for a
Oh,
second.
okay. I'm like, hey, what happened? Okay. I think that's awesome. So
Yeah.
what was how did you land? Okay, starting a new company is I'm sure scary and it's
hmm
harder than you probably thought.
hmm
what did you do to get your first client?
Sure. So we went into it with it no or with the expectation that it was going to be difficult to get clients, especially given that our background was not in the field. However, because I had been in the influencer world as an influencer for so long, we obviously gleaned that experience and was able to use it. So it was actually far easier to get clients than we ever imagined. We actually, you know, tapped out on how many we could take rather quickly.
Mhm.
So we're actually now at the point where we're hiring employees so that we can take on new clients. But anyways, it was simpler than you would have imagined because it was very little overhead. Of course, we had to purchase softwares and file, the EIN and all that kind of stuff. But that's where Kristen, the organization queen, really did her thing. And, within a couple of weeks had us up and running. And as far as getting our first clients, we cold called. We reached out to people, um, telling them our experience. We are priced, very low. So, anyways, it was very easy for us to get clients. We we created a website and would direct people towards there, but honestly, most people wanted to continue the conversation just directly on social media, whether it was DMs or a phone call, and
Oh,
that was it. Um, we have found that there's really not that many social media companies that aren't like full blown marketing companies. A lot of these mom and pop shops can't afford 10, 15 grand a month. I'm sorry, I cut out again, I think. Um, so, anyways, we found that a lot of people couldn't afford the full on marketing companies at 15 grand a month. So, it was fairly easy for us to get people
right.
and work with mom and pop shops and whatnot.
I like it. And the thing I like that you did was go out and cold call.
Yeah,
Some
absolutely.
so scared to do that, but that's really the way to like hit the ground running is to go out and be okay with hearing no.
Oh,
And
absolutely. And you know what? If for anybody who knows me, I am the most introverted, 100% would my nightmare is doing sales, if you will. So if I'm able to do it, like literally anybody can do it. It's just a matter of, being willing.
right, I agree, and I think that that's a big lesson that anyone can take is that yeah, no, well, I learned early. I had a sales job and it was so scary, but I learned that
hmm
no means next opportunity. And so once you know that, you can hit the ground running. That's really awesome that you guys were able to get up and started um, pretty quickly. And it really, if you would have just
Yeah,
waited, you would still be trying to get clients.
absolutely.
So, okay. So, right now you're saying that you're going into hiring people.
Hmm.
How's that going?
To be honest, it's harder than starting the company
Hmm.
because, it brings on a whole nother aspect to, the business. We did not go into it thinking that we would, have this much success this early. So we thought, and like employees was never going to happen. And if it did, it was far down the line. So we were a little taken aback by it and not prepared. So, learning the workman's comp and insurance and LLCs and all that kind of stuff,
Hmm.
it's definitely a process, but obviously in the long run, it'll be worth it. And it's an expense that we want. That's just part of it, and it's okay. And we're learning.
That's the best way to just, as long as you
Absolutely.
dedicated into working hard and keep going forward, because no one has business figured out. Like we all learn as we go. Like
Sure. Oh, 100%. Yeah,
so,
learn something new every day.
exactly. And who can survive the longest? Really, the successful
Mm-hmm.
once you um get to it. But that's
Mm-hmm.
that's that's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, what advice would you give someone just starting any business?
So in this industry, what is advice I would um probably the number one advice I would give is go slow. And I say that because, we went into it as social media management and, defining that as simple as that, managing your social media accounts. But you find that each niche, each client needs additional things in order to be successful and in order to, make hiring you worthwhile. So with each client, like we went into it like you, we're going to do one at a time. We are going to master their needs so that their success means our success. And in return, we're learning all these new skills, if you will. So, anyways, just taking each one very slowly because even though it is relatively easy to get clients, if you just go, go, go and get like almost greedy with, the amount of clients you can get and the amount of money you can be making, then I can almost guarantee your success is not going to be nearly as great as it would be if you were to take it slow and really master what everybody needs.
Exactly. Build out your reviews and get practice. The next year, you can be charging those that 10 to 15,000. If
For
that
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
starting slow is good. I have sometimes I like to grow fast. So now I'm at the age where I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take things slow because when you
Sure.
go fast and you get all of the employees are next, and then you get it becomes too much, and it's like cherish each
Mm-hmm.
process and hire slow, fire fast on that.
Absolutely.
Um, okay, let's see. I had some questions here. Does Kristen want to add anything about the back end of the business? How maybe challenging it may be, or you found it?
Sure. I will just have to answer it for her because she's still unable to call in. So she does something that we do to make ourselves stand out, is provide monthly strategies and monthly analytics for clients.
Okay.
And while that seems fairly straightforward and relatively easy, because we pay softwares and whatnot to provide us with analytics that just Instagram and Facebook don't provide you themselves. So
Okay.
while we went into that thinking that would be easy and something nice we could offer, it's actually insanely time consuming and but something we can't retract because now clients obviously have come used or yeah are now used to gaining those or getting those things from me each month.
Okay.
um Another side of things that you don't often think of unless you've been a business owner before is receivables and actually getting the funds from clients and in a timely fashion. So unfortunately, she has to do that every month.
Mhm.
Um, and then, like I was saying, now that we're at the point of hiring people, that's just like a whole another ball game, and we're learning about stuff that we never wanted to learn about, like workman's comp and all those sorts of things. So she is the unlucky one that gets to do those things. But again, it's worth it, and she's learning new skills, and it is what it is.
That's awesome. Thanks for saying that. Most people probably think what you do is just like, oh, I can take your account and I can make it look pretty. But at the end of the
Yeah, no,
day, it's
I
really,
wish.
it's really, it's way harder than it looks. So I just want to throw that out there to anybody that think they're gonna copy your business and be
Yeah,
a.
yeah, yeah. And there's another aspect of it that people certainly probably don't think about, like, and even like with influencers, like you see influencers and you're like, oh my gosh, they're making so much money and blah, 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 which they are. But there's a lot of laws and regulations and rules that you have to ensure that you are, you know, maintaining and following up on, because you can get in big trouble, just like with any business. But that's
Right.
just the side of things that, like, it's not just making people's pages look pretty and running giveaways and stuff like that. Like, no, I research the crud out of it and make sure that each state, each client, we're following the laws and, covering our butts, if you will.
Sorry, guys, I just wanted to step in real quick. Hi,
Oh, you're
I've been
good.
on for a little bit. I've actually been listening. My reception was so bad, I thought it might be spotty if I started talking. So I actually got to hear Bree say everything I do.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi.
Do you want to add anything, or did she cover it all?
Yeah, I think she covered it all. Yeah, that's pretty comprehensive.
Okay. Well, I have a question for you guys. So, any business I start, it's all me, unless I hire people. Every ounce of help I get they're on payroll. So, do you think you would have grown as fast if you guys weren't a team?
No.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Both of us have our strengths and our weaknesses, and we're sisters, so we know each other really well, and we know what each of us is good at and what each of us is not so good at. And so we really divvy things up and play to each of our strengths. And I don't think I wouldn't really have much of an interest in doing it, honestly, if I didn't have a partner, because I get to do the things that I'm really great at, and I get to let her do the things that I'm not so great at, and then vice versa. So that definitely helped us explode so quickly.
Gotcha. Oh, well, that's good. And this is why I tell people every business is different because of one person, one man show running a social media management company is going to be different from you guys because they have to take on all the work and all the responsibility, and you guys get to split it. So I think that's awesome. That's
Totally.
You can hear her toddler in the background. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. I just sent mine away.
Oh, there you go.
So I completely understand. Okay, so now I want to talk
That was the
about
other thing I was going to say. We a lot.
Yes.
The state of Instagram with the lights going away. I don't know if you guys have already been teaching your clients that to not look at the likes because they're vanity metrics, but what are you gonna say now? Like, have you already started telling them like, hey, don't pay attention to this. We're creating content that actually engage, or how are you going about it?
Sure. So to be honest, when we started, we purposely sought out pages and brands that already had really, really exceptionally low engagement.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I'm talking people that are getting 10 likes per picture. So for them, to be honest, even now, 3 months later, of course, we've upped each of their engagements, as that's been a main goal. It still really does not affect their businesses very much. one of the ways that I think it could affect them is a lot of them do have work with influencers,
Mhm.
but because we've already solidified influencer relationships and like partnerships, I don't even see that it's going to really affect them, in that regard either. And then most importantly, so I would say 90% of our clients are e-commerce companies.
Okay.
And for all of them, the number of likes do not equate to sales. They really don't. So, I mean, of course, it affects, it provides feedback to them. If people are liking pieces, then you would think that they're, would like the pictures and whatnot, but it
Right.
really does not equate to sales. So, as far as they're concerned, I am not concerned about it for them.
Gotcha. I think it's hard for people to understand that likes don't equate to sales. They
And I'm sure for some brands it does. Like,
okay.
especially if you have a massive following and the Instagram algorithm is really affecting and driving revenue for you, then of course your strategy is going to have to change. But our clients, are on the wrong side of the algorithm right now because they've had such poor engagement in the past.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. So let's see. Okay. Besides Instagram, do
Mhm.
you help manage any other
Oh, sure. Yeah, we do, Pinterest, Facebook, Yelp, um, Twitter is an offering, and LinkedIn. So it's really based upon, like, we do basic packages, but like I was saying earlier, every client, needs different things in order to be successful. So we really cater to what they need, what they were currently doing, what they need to be doing.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So one I think would be my final question would be, what do you guys see sisters doing social in 2020?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's so funny that you asked that because we literally spent the day um, kind of reviewing our options. So like I said, we had both went into it just trying to provide extra income for our families. It was almost like a pipe dream to reach certain numbers. And now that we've already reached those numbers, we're trying to decide if we are, satisfied with where we're at and just stick with it or hire people. So anyways, we are thinking we will potentially hire a small amount of people
Mhm.
and keep it pretty in-house and small. We have no intentions of going after the big companies that can afford that $15,000 a month marketing team. We really
Okay.
want to stick with the small people. We truly, truly, truly love getting to use our knowledge and experience to make those smaller people money. So we 100% intend to keep with those same type of clients.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I do. Oh, you were you gonna say something, Kristen?
Oh, I was just going to add, yeah, like Bree said, our passion is helping small businesses, and it's been hard, having people contact us and trying to, develop a strategy for where we can accommodate all of their needs. And, but, we know that they need us and we want to help them be successful. So, it looks like we are going to be hiring some employees
Kristen, you're cutting out pretty good.
order to make that happen for us, because if we 2020.
Okay. Well, I do have one other question I meant to ask. How are you guys balancing life now as business owners, who growing business owners? Like, how do you find the
Hmm.
balance?
Yeah. So another big upside to doing a partnership and not doing it by yourself is you can tag team. So on days where Kristen is swamped and vice versa, I'll take her son and she can work and vice versa. And then we have incredibly supportive husbands who do nothing but try and help us and lift us up and do whatever it takes in order for us to be successful. And her husband is in the financial world, so he's been a fantastic resource in holding our hands through that side of things. So it's a team effort.
I
Yeah, definitely the partnership. Once again, that's kind of another reason why I wouldn't really have much interest in doing it by myself, although there would obviously be pros to that. We need each other really to to not have our kids suffer because of the business, and letting them play with each other so we can have a moment to talk or whatever it is. And then also we have our parents actually own a small business as well. So when we were starting out, and even moving towards the next step of hiring employees and that sort of thing, they've been a good resource to us. So we just have a really great support system. And when we're kind of losing it, we just text each other and say, okay, I need you to take my kid or my kids. And that's how we've done it so far. And I think probably the only way we'll be able to keep going is using each other.
That's awesome. I like that a lot. And again, this is why I'd say you can't copy other people's businesses, because you guys have something sweet, and having that support. Also, you're doing it together. Saves a lot of money too.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, definitely.
how does it affect you guys? Like with the kids are little. For me, it's like, mommy, why are you always working? Or do you? How does that work out?
Meaning like how do we explain it to them that we're doing other stuff? Or
Yeah, like you're busy. I can't, they want to play all the time, but you got to take some time. Sometimes work is demanding, but you got to
Sure.
let them know I can't, to get them to understand it at young ages is kind of hard for me at
Yeah,
least.
of course. So we have been very mindful of that, obviously, but we've capped off the number of clients we were taking for this very reason. We could, like, if we were in an office and just the two of us, we could take on double the amount of clients, but we have strived really hard to ensure that we can, primarily work. Of course, we work in front of them sometimes, but primarily work when they are in bed, when it's the weekends and dad can have them and we can go to Starbucks and work. That's the beautiful thing about this being remote is, we have that sort of flexibility. And now we have school aged children. So of course, when they're at school, we can work. It's just a balance. And we have worked very hard to not overdo it solely for that reason.
Okay.
yeah, and I think the other thing I try to do too is, if I have a day, like I've had a few days this week with Black Friday coming up and all of that, there's definitely I've been on my phone a lot more than usual. So when I just make sure I set aside time where like I'm having 2 hours where I'm not responding to a text message, I'm not responding to a phone call, I'm just playing with my son and being super intentional. And I think that helps with the mom guilt when I am on my phone and he's having to entertain himself or whatever. So I think that helps, is like setting time. Okay, I'm letting myself be on my phone for a few hours to work, and then setting aside separate time, like, okay, now I'm intentionally not working and doing this, or dinner time, family time, whatever. Just trying to like keep it kind of separate, or setting aside time for each.
And I also think it's a great thing for our kids. We have 3 sons between the two of us. I think it's a great thing for them to see that their moms can do it all, like be Wonder Woman. So I think, like, within reason, like, again, I'm not trying to justify overworking or anything, but I also think that it's a good showing them that I'm
example.
Yeah, like a good example, and I'm hardworking, and it shows values.
Right. I think it matters to how they pick their mate too. Like they're gonna want someone hardworking too. So I think
Absolutely.
it's good. I like to teach my kids about business too, because they're not gonna learn it in school. So I take the time. But let's be honest. So I
Sure.
take the time to teach them, and so they know they have options, and it's not, you don't have to go to college if you don't want to, and so it's a young age for them to understand that. Let's see. Did you guys have any questions about me, or my company, for me?
Yeah, I do. I obviously we've been following you for a little bit, So do you consult? Do people hire you to consult for specific, like as they're starting up a boutique, or when they're having issues with their boutiques, or how do you consult, or when do you consult, I guess?
Okay, so when I originally started Boutique Helper, it was last year back in August, and I had a storefront, and I understand marketing. Marketing has never been our problem, but the operation side of the business needed more of my attention, the buying, the hiring, the firing, the merchandising. So I couldn't get to the marketing part. So I kept trying to find these people to take my ideas and just run with them while I go and handle operations. And I was paying money to people, thousands of dollars to people, and they didn't really deliver. Even people that were managing my social media, like they focused on getting likes, but it didn't turn to sales. So it was just a waste of money for me at that time. So one day I was in my store and I was like, I wish I could clone myself. So, and that's why I was like, oh, let me just do Boutique Helper. And I created this website, but it was almost Black Friday and I didn't have time to help to really push it. But I started consulting my neighbors in the mall. I started helping them negotiate their leases. And I would teach social media, like the basis of social media, to their employees. And I trained my staff pretty well. So I would train other people's employees. So that's how it started. And when I closed my store, I was like, okay, let me go full time to help busy brick and mortar stores, with the marketing side, because they don't have time. I know they don't have time. So I was doing that and I was like, well, I want to kind of teach them social media. And I was like, well, I hate social media. Maybe I should learn it. I mean, I understand it, but I needed to understand it at a different level. So I created the Instagram Boutique Helper. And as a case study to kind of learn how everything worked. So I spent like 10 hours a day for 4 months learning it. But in that time, my DMs were about how to start boutiques. So that birthed a different arm of my business where I help beginners. I do it more of a coaching. So I have coaching programs for people that want to start, but they want to get the knowledge and the experience that I have. And it kind of like sets them apart because of my experience. But most of my consulting on the agency side, it is just finding ways to generate more revenue. So every client is different. Most people want to be on social media, but honestly, like I'm sending people away from Instagram. Actually, most of them like focus on Facebook, focus on Pinterest, to get the people you need. So it's just finding different ways depending on their budget to make it worthwhile. So it doesn't matter. I'm pretty good with all of it.
That I think it's really interesting. It basically gives people a leg up when they're starting their boutiques. Kind of
Right.
gives them an edge that they wouldn't otherwise have when starting a new venture, and they don't have to make all the mistakes that a lot of people have to make when they're starting something like a boutique.
Right.
It's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that I give people the other side of it. And that's why I asked you guys, like, what's that other side that even I can't see? I don't do management, the social media.
And a lot of boutiques, they're kind of right up our alley with style and what they're doing, and we love fashion and that sort of thing, although we spend a lot of jammies, but we really do like fashion. So yeah, it's really right up our alley, and it's fun too. We all of our clients, our boutique clients, were able to produce revenue for them, and that's obviously really exciting. Them are people just like us trying to provide for our family, and trying to figure out how to do that and the best way to do that. So being able to help them is obviously really satisfying for us.
Right. Oh, cool. I see you have is it Fancy Frills? Is that that's a big boutique?
Yes, Fancy Frills Boutique is one of our boutiques. They're actually the first boutique that we ever started working with. So they kind of hold a special place in our hearts because of that. Yeah, and they're like the sweetest. I don't know if you know them or not, but they're the sweetest owners ever.
I've heard of their name before. Yeah, I've heard of their name before. I'm not sure. I think we used to sell on like the same marketplace. Um,
Maybe they're based out of Utah.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's where I know them from. I'm like, their name
yeah,
is too familiar,
yeah,
so it makes sense now. So it
yep,
makes
yep.
sense. So I'm familiar with their work, and I think when you guys originally reached out, and I was like, that is so cool because they're a big company.
Yeah, they're doing big things, and it's been really fun to help them. Um, they're actually, stay-at-home moms like us, and so, like I said, just being able to produce revenue for them and provide kind of like, how you're able to provide something for these boutiques that they wouldn't otherwise have, and that being your experience, all of the knowledge that Brianna has about social media and everything that I know about text messaging marketing and email marketing, and having access to all of the different analytics and really using those analytics to produce revenue, um, for these companies that otherwise wouldn't be able to do that or don't know how to do it or don't have the time to learn it. So many boutique owners are wearing so many different hats. And being able to wear one of their hats for them and wear it really, really well and produce revenue is, like I said, really satisfying.
That's awesome. Doesn't it feel good to have a business where you feel good helping people? They grow, you grow. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm sure Brianna kind of went into this, but like I said, we use analytics for everything. So it's really nice to, we run the analytics constantly, but at the end of the month, send those reports and feel good about what we did for them. And we know that we provided added value to their business and their families, really, because a lot of them are, you know, have families, and that's why they're working, and that's what drives them. So that drives us too on their behalf, for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I do have one last question. I keep saying this, but what the best platform? Which one converts the most for boutiques? Instagram, Facebook, or Pinterest?
So that's super interesting that you ask that, because I think about this all the time, and it's so crazy to me how vastly different it is from client to client, even if I'm looking at just boutiques. So right now we have 3 boutiques,
Hmm.
and one of them being Fancy Frills, and far and away their highest revenue stream comes from Instagram, like blows Facebook out of the water. And then our other client, who has storefronts and obviously still sells online, she does hands down Facebook, especially having a Facebook group. So they sell very well on their Facebook page, but having a Facebook group for VIPs does
Hmm.
exceptional for them. So unfortunately, a lot of boutiques don't have like a VIP group or a Facebook group page because it's insanely time consuming and
Hmm.
requires a lot of attention and engagement on the owner's parts. But I would say if I personally was a boutique owner, of course I would do all the platforms, but I would focus a lot of time and attention on on my Facebook page and my Facebook group.
I agree. That's what I've been sending my clients because it allows you to be um, like a real boutique where you're small and they expect just you and they don't mind just you. When you're on Instagram, you're up against all of the companies, but
Sure.
you can be yourself a
Yes,
little bit.
there's far more like interaction and personality on Facebook.
Yes, I agree. So I've been trying to get everybody to go over there. I didn't have a group that didn't work for my none of my businesses.
Hmm.
Honestly, I didn't use much of social media. So
Yeah.
it just wasn't, I didn't have to, if I found a
Yeah,
way
yeah,
around,
yeah. Oh,
it's time consuming. So,
of course.
right. So, now I honestly didn't know about, for years ago, I didn't know there was a such thing as a social media management company, or I would have outsourced it. I was just thinking, I'm not doing it. I'm going to focus on my customer, and that worked for me. But yeah, I think it's great that you all are doing this business, helping small businesses grow. And I think we're good to go. Is there anything you want to add? If you want to shout out your company, so maybe followers and some new clients.
I'm sorry, you had cut out there, but
Oh,
no, no, no. I mean, I have nothing else. I mean, of course, if anybody is ever interested in speaking to us, and we are happy to see if we could meet their needs. And yeah, it was a pleasure to speak with you.
likewise, this was interesting.